Hello everyone, welcome back to TBWP 21. The wellness pillar we are focusing on this month is financial wellness. We feel this is a highly important pillar to focus on right now due to all the ongoing financial changes we are seeing in our country. Cost of living is on the climb, so we have asked our Tannibal business office managers to help us out by sharing some tips about budgeting and savings. First, we'll hear from Bentley Hodson at Carriage Cove Short Stay Rehabilitation.
Hey everyone, I'm Bentley Hodson. I am the business office manager at Carriage Cove. I have worked for Tannibal for a year and a half or so now. I'm actually going to be leaving the company soon because I'm going to be moving to Seattle, Washington. With that, there's a lot of crazy stuff that my husband and I are dealing with buying a new car, new house, all of those things. And so wanted to talk a little bit about budgeting today as we have these changes in our lives with the change with inflation. Prices are getting higher, gas is getting expensive, more expensive. With that, there's some tips and tricks that I was thinking about when I go shopping, specifically grocery shopping. Okay, so when I go to grocery stores, there are 4 tips that I use when I go. So the first one, I make sure that I do not shop hungry because I will grab all of the snacks, all of the fun stuff that I don't necessarily need, but we get from Tannibal anyway, so I just eat it while I'm here. 2, I look at off-brand versus name brand items, try to save a little bit of money there, and then also the third thing that I like to do is make a list before I go. It helps me to make sure I just buy things that I need, that I'm not overbuying stuff that I already have in my fridge that might expire because I have 2 items of the same thing. And then the fourth thing that I do that I learned about that I love to do, kind of subconsciously do at this point, is that when I go shopping, I will look at an item and something similar, and you can look at the unit price. It has the normal price of the item and then a unit price that will show how much it is per ounce or something like that. And so sometimes you see a deal that looks way better than something else. But as you look at the unit price, you could say, actually this one, even though it's smaller, it's actually more expensive per ounce of the item instead. A few examples of unit price that could be helpful. You could think of a head of broccoli. You could get the whole broccoli way cheaper than if you get the pre-cut. It's nice when it's already done for you, but it's more expensive that way. Or soda as well. You can get a 2-liter that's $1, $1.50, a lot cheaper than buying it in cans. It's more convenient, but more expensive. So if you're trying to save some money, it's looking for those slight differences in a very similar or the same product. And so those are my 4 tips. But as I've been thinking about it, I've been looking into grocery pickup as well. That's something that I think I'm gonna start doing because instead of going to the store, walking around, seeing all the fun stuff that like I don't really need those Oreos, I don't need those Cheez-Its, all of that kind of stuff. If you have your list already made, you can order it through grocery pickup and just go to the store, pick it up and leave without buying all those extra goodies if you don't need them at that time. So as I've been planning our move, we've been looking at a house and a car and school. It's a lot of money. And unfortunately, we are going to go into debt for some of that. But the grocery store is one way that we can be mindful of what the money that we're spending at the grocery store. Save every penny we can to hopefully help us get out of debt faster as we're paying for all of these new things in a new situation. So as you go to the grocery store next, I challenge you to try one of my tips and see how much you can save.
Thank you for all those tips on budgeting, Bentley. It is more important now than ever to be comparing prices and making lists to ensure you're not breaking the bank at the grocery store. Little things make a big difference. Next, we'll hear from Buffy Campione at Serenity Transitional Care about her successful savings strategy as she sits down to discuss it with Morgan.
I am here today at Serenity Transitional Care with my good friend Buffy. Buffy is the business office manager here at Serenity. Buffy, will you just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how long you've worked for Serenity in Tannibal?
Okay, so I started prior to the building being open, so I've been here 5 years now. Let's see, business office manager now. I was the HR manager. I did all the AP prior, but now my job's kind of combined. I'm HR, business office, all rolled up into one, and whatever needs to be done gets done.
Awesome. So Buffy has informed me she kind of has this really cool advice for us when it comes to savings. She told me a little bit prior to the video about it, and I'm just a little excited to pick her brain a little bit more about her savings that she has. She has accomplished a lot financially as an individual and with her husband, and so I just want you to kind of introduce the idea that you have that has helped you with your savings and building up this awesome savings account that you have.
Okay, so roughly 10 years ago, maybe a little more, I decided that I was going to take some money and put it aside because I wanted to be able to pay off some debt. I hate debt. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. So, and I had a lot of debt. So I started taking, back then it was about $250 a month, and putting it into its own account. I have 6 accounts now. I have 4 with one bank and 2 with another bank when I moved to Idaho, just so I'd have access to money because driving to Utah is not feasible anymore. So I have a separate account that's just for savings that is bill paying, whether it be toys, whether it be whatever it is that I decide I want to pay off. And so I take that money every month and I put that direct deposited into account, so I never get into it. I leave it alone. The first year I had more than $5,000 that I had saved up. Paid off debts. And I thought, oh God, a lot of money that I didn't worry about having because I'd never seen it. Yeah. It was an account it wasn't attached to anything, and it stood alone. So I never spent it, and it just saved up that fast. So since then I've been doing that, and my husband, when we met, he was doing the same. So we put money from each check again into a separate account. He has his own separate account, and we take and we have paid off a side-by-side. We've paid off our truck. We paid off our trailer in 3 years. That was pretty significant, and our house will be paid off in 4 years.
Wow, that is amazing. So when it comes to saving and deciding how much you were going to save each month, how did you kind of narrow that down? Like, obviously we all kind of have different pay ranges that we receive each month. Mm-hmm. And especially right now in today's world, like, things are expensive. So how do you manage still being able to save in those accounts with like the prices around like our communities and stuff with gas and groceries and things like that starting to rise? How do you still manage to be able to save?
So what I do is I basically look at how much I'm bringing in every paycheck. Okay, so I've got my house payment I know I have to make. I have my utilities I have to pay. Obviously, I don't have a car payment anymore because I paid that off. Gas, I drive 1 mile to work and 1 mile back, so my tank lasts me 3 months. It's okay that way. But then I still think about, I've got to buy groceries. I take what I know that I need to pay, and I say, okay, I have 2 checks. This is what I have. How much out of each check do I need to pay? And I have them set up for each paycheck. Yeah. So I've got house out of one, utilities and food and everything out of the other. Yeah. And so anything that's surplus goes into my other savings account, and I have put away quite a bit of money in that, and it sits there. It's a nice fund that if my water heater breaks down, I've got money to pay that. If I need to go buy something, a new refrigerator or whatever, I have the money put away and I don't have to finance it. Yeah. So if you look at it, and how much do you need? So I make my own lunch. I don't go out to eat. My husband and I don't go out to eat since COVID, obviously. But even prior to COVID, we would go out maybe once a month or once every couple months and have a steak dinner or something, a little celebration or something. But other than that, we don't go out. So I know what my finances are. There's not a big movement in them because we don't, to go out and have fun, we take our trailer out and we go camping. Yeah. With gas prices now, we're camping in the background. We've got the backyard and the trailer's back there. So I said to my husband, well, I think we're going to have to camp back here for right now.
Right, those gas prices are getting crazy.
They are.
So really, it just came down to kind of prioritizing savings.
Yeah.
Like, and making that the importance, and that's what's kind of led you to be able to get rid of your debt.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Correct.
So there's no crazy like method to your madness. It's just
Savings.
kind of prioritizing that savings. And
Yeah.
okay. And has there ever come a time in the last handful of years that you've been doing this that you kind of had to be like, okay, I don't have as much this month to give to my savings because something may have come up, or something of that sort? That is that okay that, say, instead of putting away $250 this month, you only put away $50? Is that okay for people to do?
Oh, definitely. You can change that, especially with our direct deposit. You can change the amount that you want to contribute to your account. You know, and you can have 3 or 4 accounts that you're depositing into with our direct deposit. So,
Can you explain to everyone a little bit more about how they can use Paycor and that tool in Paycor? Because I think some people may not know that that is something we can do. Is like, you don't have to, it's right, you don't have to deposit your whole check into a checking and then go to your bank and then separate it and stuff. Like, there's a tool for that, right?
Correct. So with the direct deposit in Paycor, you can have, and there's not there's an unlimited amount of accounts that you can have. I have 2 personally that are set up. One's my toy account, one's my bank account, and you can move those funds around however you want. You can add a 3rd account if you want to, you know, kind of like what I was doing is setting that money for one, setting the money for the other. So it's completely up to you. You manage it. So you are the one. And yes, if you have to change those amounts, there's nothing wrong with that. And you shouldn't berate yourself for doing that, because sometimes, you know, one month you're a little leaner. Or did you overspend somewhere? So then you need to check yourself and say, well, you know, I overspent here, but okay, next month I'll get back to. You know, I was going to tell you, when my husband and I first started dating, he was telling me, you know, he was spending $1,000 a month in going out to eat food and, you know, getting lunches every day and his drinks and his coffees and stuff. And I challenged him to 2 months, and I said, let's see how much money we can put away. And he put $1,600 away in 2 months.
Wow.
Just from making his lunch, making coffee at home, and not going to pick up anything.
Wow, that's super impressive.
So-
The little things really do add up, don't they?
They
Yeah,
do, they do.
especially right now. I think there's a lot of families out there that unfortunately might be struggling a little bit more. So I think it's probably a good time for all of us to kind of take a look at our finances and see some places where we can cut back so that we can still afford to go camping in the summer and pay those extra gas prices, but also not be going into even more debt, because that's something we definitely want to avoid doing, is going into more debt. And so if we can build our savings and reduce that debt, I think it makes life a little bit easier for all of us.
It does.
Is that right?
It does. Then you can take those nice vacations and, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. And buy those cool toys like campers and side by sides, right?
Yes.
Cool. Do you have any other advice when it comes to savings, or kind of just anything that you want to kind of round out our little conversation?
Truly, no. I mean, just it's hard to start. You know, I've encouraged a few people here, and so far I've gotten one on board, and he took a look at his account several months ago, and he said, Buffy, I've got several $1,000s put away. And I said, it's that easy. It doesn't seem easy, but it is. Just by that little bit of money that you would spend on truly nothing, or even going out and having food, making yourself a sandwich and chips and bringing it to work, it saves so much money. And if it's that, you know, $60, it will add up.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, little bit makes a big difference.
It does.
Thank you so much for that that advice and kind of showing us the successes that you've had in your life with savings. And I know I definitely could do a little bit better with it. Thank you so much, Buffy. And
Thank you.
I'm sure if any of you had any questions about what Buffy has accomplished or how she does it, I'm sure she'd be more than happy to take a phone call here at Serenity and give you a little bit more advice. She's a great asset to our Tannenbaugh family, and we're super fortunate to have her.
thank you.
Thank you, Buffy. What an accomplishment to be able to pay off debt so quickly and maintain your savings. It's amazing what we are capable of if we just set our minds to it and make financial wellness a priority. This month, we extend the challenge to each of you to make mindful decisions concerning your financial wellness. If we don't allow money or finances to become a burden in our lives, we will be able to maintain a much healthier overall wellness. Please remember to take the quiz associated with this video on Talent LMS and have a great month.